Welcome once again to another episode of the Random Access Podcast, brought to you by rapodcast.net. This is episode 833, recorded live on April 26th, 2025. And here are your hosts, the man who was supposed to have a choice this week, Dave Palay.
Hi.
And the man who instead got his hands on the summer Baja flavor, Andy Lowe. Hi.
And you don't want to wait?
No, I do not.
Okay. You're like, I have the summer Baja flavor. That's what I'm going to have.
Yes, that's what I'm going to have because I have a 12-pack of it, and I don't want to have to sit here and wait for another month. So, there it is. Baja Cabo Citrus. That is a weird tropical punch type flavor.
Would be really shitty for there to be coconut in there.
No, they did that, what year did they do that, where they put coconut in both of them?
Ugh.
What year was that? Oh, yeah, it was like pineapple coconut. Yeah, Baja Flash. Baja Flash with pineapple coconut flavor. And I think there was the other one that year as well. I'm trying to remember. There's just been, so many of the... I'm trying to look it up. Man, there are a lot of flavors.
Yeah, we know. You've been downing all of them.
I have been downing all of them. The sad point, though, is this year is the first time in a long time where they haven't done two flavors for the summer. It's just Cabo Citrus, nothing else.
Okay.
But this is the one that's supposed to go well with the guacamole version of Doritos that's supposed to be coming out.
That, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, guacamole flavored Doritos.
I think I'd rather just get guacamole.
Yeah, probably me too.
And like non-Doritos.
Yeah, I'm not eating them right now, but I've been snacking on the Dorito late night snack, the loaded taco. I opened up the bag of those Doritos, and it. Do you know how like you walk into Taco Bell and it has that smell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells like a Taco Bell.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know. I opened it up. I'm like, oh well, it smells like Taco Bell, and I'm eating them like they're okay, but. I don't know. Yeah, no. The Baja Cabo Citrus is supposed to go with the guacamole Doritos. They even say on the can that it's the perfect pairing with Doritos. And the Doritos bag is supposed to say goes perfectly with Mountain Dew.
Goes well with the Baja whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sure.
Yeah, this tastes like a
sure.
a fizzy tropical punch is what this tastes like.
Like a Hawaiian punch?
No, Hawaiian punch has got more of a cherry to it.
Which I never understood.
Yeah.
Like, cherries aren't Hawaiian, right? Like...
Well, pineapples were not native to Hawaii.
Fair. Were pineapples old world? We've had this conversation.
Yes, I know. And I don't remember. I just remember that's always my fun fact is that pineapples are not native to South America.
South America. Because they were a status symbol for a while. Like, you could afford a pineapple.
Yes, we've had the random topic on that, too.
Yeah.
But no, South America.
Okay.
So, yes, no, I had a whole 12-pack, and I'm like, I don't want to let that sit there for a whole month waiting to try it out.
I mean, you wouldn't... Oh, because... You would have to potentially sit there for a whole month if I made you do the other ones first.
Yes.
I see. I was wondering, well, what do you mean a month? Like, you could just try it. But, right, okay. Alternatively, you could have still just given me the choice and mixed it in with the others. The chances of it being the last one are pretty slim.
True. That is true.
Well, by pretty slim, I mean like 1 in 5.
Yeah, 20%. Well, yeah. Yes, 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to teach Isaac percentages because of the Wonder Picks and pack pulls from Pokemon.
Yeah. And percent chances?
Yes.
And what is a 5% chance?
Mm-hmm. Or a 20% chance for pulling that card.
Are you going to use like dice rolls?
No, I've just been using nice whole numbers.
Yeah. But you could do like hey, let's play a betting game. Here's a die. If you roll a 20 on this die, I will give you $2. If you roll anything else, you have to give me some like small amount that's more than the 50 cents or 5 cents that it would be. And then you just see where you're at after like, 100 rolls.
Yeah, no, I think I'm okay.
Okay. Number sense is very difficult to teach.
Yes, it is.
But it's very, very important.
Well, it's even just, the fact that humans don't really understand extremely large numbers either.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, we can't, like, what is it? It's like your brain is hardwired for 1, 2, 3, many.
Yep.
Because if there's more than 3, it really doesn't matter. We're also shockingly bad at area.
What do you mean?
Comparing two areas.
Oh, yes.
Unless they have a common side length, in which case you are not measuring area, you're just measuring the length of the other side. We're really good at length, unless you start throwing in like some weird optical illusions. But like just sheer which of these is bigger, like that's fine. But once you go into 2 dimensions and you say, which rectangle is a bigger rectangle? That is really hard to do. We are really, really bad at it. It's why pie charts suck, but donut charts are totally okay.
Wait, donut charts are the ones that look like a pie chart, but there's a hole in the middle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That hole plays a very important part.
Huh.
Because once you add that hole, you aren't comparing the areas of the slices anymore. You're comparing the arc length of the side.
Which is a lot easier to compare. Okay, yep.
It's crazy because you could just be like, well, what if I make that hole smaller? And what if I make it smaller? And what if I make it smaller? And then I make it so small it just disappears? Like, at what point does it become less helpful? But yes. I don't know how we got on this. Area, probability.
I don't.
Your
yes.
drinks.
Yes.
That's how we got onto this. Woo! That's a rabbit hole.
Well, should we do topics, or do you want any? How was your week? What do we normally do?
There's the Stanley Cup playoffs, I think, is happening.
Oh, I stopped paying attention to hockey once the Red Wings get eliminated.
Okay, so you don't care about hockey. Basketball is still a thing.
Pistons, how are the Pistons doing?
I don't know. Why are we talking about sports when neither of us really cares about sports?
Oh, they lost 2 games to the Knicks so far.
I have started a Nuzlocke attempt.
I actually know what that is.
Randomized Nuzlocke.
Oh, a randomized Nuzlocke?
A randomized Nuzlocke.
Isaac was watching a guy do a randomized Nuzlocke, and he was going through and he was trying to get, decide how he wanted to, which Pokemon he wanted to put out and stuff there, because he was planning on like, he might have, it's the water gym, so he's going to have water Pokemon that do water attacks. But it's an entirely randomized Nuzlocke, so it's like the water Pokemon did not do water attacks.
I'm shocked it was even water Pokemon.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's just like, okay, yeah, you're talking about, I need a plan for this, but you're in an entirely randomized Nuzlocke.
Who was it?
Oh.
Do you know? Do you remember? That sounds like someone doing like their first randomized, because like any of the serious people are going to be like, we know what's going on.
Let me go through my playlist history, because of course, everybody has done a Nuzlocke video on YouTube. Can I search my watch history? Search watch history. Here we go. Pokey Tips.
Oh,
Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Extreme Randomizer Nuzlocke.
Okay, Extreme Randomizer Nuzlocke.
Yes, there's an episode he did about 6 minutes just explaining what the heck he means by Extreme Randomizer Nuzlocke.
What is an Extreme Randomizer Nuzlocke? Everything is randomized.
I think so.
Oh,
yes.
God. Moves, abilities, items, and even the types. Oh, God. That's terrifying.
Yep.
No, I'm just doing a like basic randomize of like the Pokemons that spawn are different than what would normally spawn there. It randomized the spawn table. It also randomized the Pokemon that other trainers have. My starter choices was keep in mind this is for a Gen 2 game, because I'm playing Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. So my choices of starters were a Spheal, a Duskull, and a Porygon. Those were my choices of starters. Spheal, Duskull, and Porygon. I went with the Duskull. Being immune to normal type attacks at very low levels is pretty sweet. Anyway, yeah, we can go on to topics. Unless you have other stuff you want to chat about.
No, not that I can think of.
All right. I presume we're recording, so obviously you have your power back.
Yes, that was was interesting to wake up where, Kate, got up and I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, we don't have any power. I'm like, what? How do you know? And she's like, because the monitor from Megan's room started beeping because it will beep when it loses connection. And the remote is battery powered, but the actual device in her room is plugged in. So it just started going off at 7:30 in the morning. And then of course Isaac got up, and then Isaac is like, what am I supposed to do? There's no power.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he started playing Subway Surfer on his tablet. So because there were a couple of games that were pre-installed on his tablet, so he was doing those.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it was really weird is I got up, went to the bathroom, and no joke, when I flushed the toilet is when the power came back on. So that was really weird. If you flush the toilet and suddenly all the lights in the bathroom turn on.
That would be really bad.
Yeah, that was very confused for a second there.
You had to get the water running over the wires to trip the circuit.
I guess so. That, and for some reason, the circuit that the wall outlet that our internet is plugged into tripped for some reason. So I'm sitting the entire time waiting for the modem and everything to boot back up. And then I finally go over here. I'm like, there's no power over here. What the heck? And I go downstairs to the basement. Yeah, the breaker had tripped for some reason.
Huh.
Yeah, little weird. Yes, no, supposedly it was caused by a bird trying to build a nest that took out most of the whole city's power.
Oops.
Yep.
I just saw a video about a bird that was trying to build a nest on power lines, and they blasted the nest off with a high pressure hose, and then the bird came back and was thoroughly distraught because its nest was gone. Yeah. And then they built a little thing on top of the tower to cradle a nest and started building a nest back up for the bird, and it was very happy.
A bird created a nest on a piece of equipment on Millam Avenue that caused the outage for 2 hours. It's really a bird cuts off power to thousands of people.
Yep.
Yeah, that was an interesting morning, but we got it back. And then the kids and I went out to the mall because today is actually National Pretzel Day.
Cool.
So we all got pretzels from the mall. So, right. I don't even know how to segue this thing.
There are some new seasons that have been announced of some TV shows that I am interested in.
Okay.
And so I'm excited, and I added those as topics, even though I'm pretty sure Andy has not watched a single one of these.
What are we watching now on TV? We're trying to finish up Only Murders in the Building.
I've heard really good things about that.
Yes, it's good.
What service is that on? Is that
Hulu?
So if I have Disney Plus,
if you have the right level of Disney Plus, then
I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that a lot.
Yes, because we don't have the right level of it. I had gotten Hulu on Black Friday where there was some crazy deal for $1 a month or something like that for a year. Yeah, and then that expired. But this was before Disney Plus and Hulu merged. And so we had Disney Plus, and then we had Hulu, and then they merged, and then we could get into Hulu through the Disney Plus app, so we didn't need the Hulu app, but then it turned out we were paying $20-something bucks a month for Hulu. And, we're trying to figure out what we actually watch on Hulu. And it was Hit Monkey and Only Murders in the Building were basically the two of them. So we're trying to work our way through that in order to
cancel your subscription.
Yes. So we're watching Only Murders in the Building. We're also watching Guy Fieri.
Fieri.
Fieri, yes, Guy Fieri.
Diners, dives, and drive-thrus.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives, I think is triple. He always just calls it triple D.
Yeah. I think it's diners, dives. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. You're right.
Yeah. So,
you're actually watching him take you to Flavortown?
No. So he started up. Well, he's hosting this show called the Tournament of Champions, where they started out with like 16 chefs, and these are all like top level chefs, like Iron Chefs, that sort of stuff. You know, people who have won Top Chef. You know, and he just puts them in a bracket, and he has basically a roulette wheel of like different proteins and produce and kitchen equipment and styles and times, and everything for those two chefs is entirely random. Speaking of a Nuzlocke.
Randomized Nuzlocke.
Yeah, speaking of a randomized Nuzlocke. Everything, like, it's all random. And so the chefs don't know what they're, going to make.
Right.
Until the wheel stops. And then he's just like, okay, here you go. 3, 2, 1, go. So it's like top level chefs actually just working their butts off with who knows what.
Huh.
And they've done 5.
These are all professional chefs who have practiced this sort of thing.
Yes.
Like if a bunch of them have been on Iron Chef, like that, you don't know what you're going to make until they're like, all right, here's the ingredient. And you're like, oh shit. Like I have to come up with a 4-course meal themed around squid.
Yeah. No. So they actually had former Iron Chefs in the tournament.
Former Iron Chefs, or oh my god. Well, okay, hang on.
Yes. No, the U.S. Iron Chefs.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see Kat Cora on the list. I'm like, she is really good. She is fantastic. But like, she's an American Iron Chef.
Yes. Okay. So yes, they had the American Iron Chefs. Some of them on there.
I take it back. Season 3, Masaharu Morimoto.
He came on as a judge.
He was a judge. Oh, yes. Judges for the season. Okay.
Yes. That's the other thing is the judges.
And Kat Cora. Yeah. Okay.
The judges don't. It's a blind judging, so they actually have other people come in and describe the chef's like meal to the judges. Mm-hmm. So the judges have no idea whose meals these are, and the chefs have no idea who the judges are going to be. Because
at that level, they could actually be like, oh, I know that this person likes this type of thing.
Yep. Well, I've seen that actually. There was Bobby Flay. Bobby Flay did one where he got a couple of chefs together, and he basically brings a challenger in, and the challenger has to try and beat all 3 of Bobby Flay's like handpicked chefs.
I have seen that.
Yes.
Yep, I have seen that.
And they have that one judge who comes in for the whole night. And, as you start getting progressively into the night, the chefs are like, oh, I know this judge. Okay, so they actually like this, this, and this. So I'm going to do this instead.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I remember one of the judges was like, this needs more acid. And like the next judge came up and was like, okay, lemons.
More acid, lemon, citrus, vitamin C. There we go.
Yeah. You want acid? I'll get you acid.
Yeah. A little bit of LSD, slip that in there.
But yeah, so that's what we're watching right now. So all of your shows.
Okay. Yeah, so there's 3 shows here, even though there's only 2 topics. One of them is an anthology show, so like there isn't a continuous story. It is Love, Death, and Robots. And I put in season 4. Do I mean season 4? Yeah, season 4. Okay. It's an anthology show, so it's like a bunch of 10 to 15 minute episode stories.
Oh, that so it's kind of like a
animated
Black Mirror
or computer animated. I think like a couple of them have been live action.
Oh, so it's more like a What If.
Yeah, but less connected.
Okay.
So What If is still at least like the Marvel universe.
Yes.
This is just like a lot of people doing a lot of things. However, this season starring Mr. Beast, John Oliver, the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh my.
Chris Parnell, Kevin Hart, Reese Darby, John Boyega, just to name a few. They've gotten some pretty big names involved in this. I loved Death and Robots seasons 1 through 3. There are some really good ones. There's some really deep ones. There's some really like mind fuck what the hell is that ones. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. This is the same people who did Secret Level, which was kind of the same idea, but Secret Level is based purely on video games. Well, games. The D&D one isn't a video game. The other video announcement is about what has been referred to as the Helliverse, because there's 2 shows, Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. I'm guessing you haven't heard of either of these.
Nope.
They're both pretty good. They're both this like independent cartoonist had an idea, wanted to do it, ran a pilot on YouTube, did like all the animation, got voice actors, had it professionally done, and it was so well received, Amazon picked up the show.
Oh, good.
Amazon was like, we'll give you a shot. Yeah, well, here's a contract. You maintain mostly full creative ownership. There was some back and forth about like who the voice actors were going to be. The creator, Viv, did not get the voice actors that she wanted from the pilot. Long story. But wildly successful on Amazon, and renewed for season 2. Season 2 isn't out yet. And they just announced that they've been approved for seasons 3 and 4.
Oh my.
And she was running a second show called Hell of a Boss, which was not picked up by Amazon. It was available on YouTube. Amazon is picking that one up too. And since they both take place in this fictional hell, they've been related by story, but never had a like actual crossover because one was owned by Amazon and one was not.
But now that both are.
Now they're both on Amazon. So now with seasons 3 and 4 of Has Been Hotel and the next season of Hell of a Boss, they are able to do crossovers, and they will also be released on YouTube. They're getting a like month-long exclusivity on Amazon, and then after a month, it'll be released on YouTube.
Nice. Well, that's good to hear.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good show. It has Keith David as one of the characters, and he has a magnificent singing voice. I would not have guessed that Keith David had such a wonderful singing voice, but he does, and he uses it. Has Been Hotel is kind of like a musical cartoon. 4chan went down.
Yes.
For like a week.
Yes, and it's still not 100% back up yet, actually.
What parts of it are not back up?
If I remember correctly, most of it said it in the blog post, what's not back up yet. Because, yes, they actually posted a blog post. Let's see. How did I get to the 4chan blog post?
Wow. It's just blog.4chan.com.
Okay.
Boards are up, posting is down, images are down, thumbs are down, static is up, and front page is up.
Yep.
I'm reading through the story. Holy shit.
Yeah, so they had some old hardware, and I guess...
No, out-of-date software package.
Yeah, out-of-date software package, and somebody supposedly from soyjack.party, another image board, basically went in, stole as much as he could, and then basically burned it to the ground.
4chan's development team surveyed the damage, which, to be frank, was catastrophic. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
One slow but much beloved board /F Flash will not be returning as there is no realistic way to prevent similar exploits using .swf files.
I didn't even remember that. Like, I'm trying to think of the last time I actually used Flash.
Oh, Flash is so bad.
Yeah.
I remember being pissed when Steve Jobs was like, yeah, we're not supporting Flash, because that was like, what do you mean we're not supporting Flash? It's like the core of the internet. And he was like, there is no way to make Flash safe. Flash is terrible. And everyone was panicking and going like, but all of the web is Flash. And he's like, yup. And Flash is terrible and not secure. And I hate him for a lot of things. and I hated him at the time, but he was right.
Yes. He was so right, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Java," and then people are like, "No, Java is bad as well."
Like, guys, Java's also bad. JavaScript?
There was one of the transmitter manufacturers for AM and FM had the biggest thing when they were trying to. I don't remember if it was either Flash or Java that they were trying to step away from for their GUI for logging into their transmitters remotely. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot more you can do than just, like the 4 buttons on the front with the little touchscreen. But yeah, there was the longest time was trying to get their stuff ported over to something else that was more secure because, a lot of the browsers just wouldn't let you do anything. They just looked at it and go, nope.
Yep.
Not gonna let you run it.
Here's a fun, I didn't know a web browser could do that kind of moment. My headphones at work have their own firmware built into the headphone itself somehow. It's a USB headphone, right?
Yeah.
And when you press the mute button on the little headphone controller, the headphone goes muted, and it's this really loud, great, thanks, yep.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what anyone else said for the last 2 seconds because you decided to say muted.
Yeah.
And if I am muted and I'm making noise, it beeps at me. And it's like, hey, you're muted, which is supposed to be this helpful, hey, you might be trying to talk. Just a reminder, you're on mute. But it's super annoying. So to turn it off, there's no control on the headphones for it. So you have to either download the firmware interface program or go to their website and use the online configuration manager that doesn't require a login. You just go there and it connects to the microphone via the USB and it can change the settings on the microphone from the web.
Huh.
And I'm like, what? You're configuring my hardware from the browser without me downloading anything. How?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yep, nope. I agree. Let's see, anything. Oh, speaking of accessibility and that sort of things there. Steam has actually started to set up questionnaires for publishing. So if you're going to publish a game on Steam, there is now a questionnaire where people can tick boxes, basically, to help with accessibility. So, adjustable text size, yes, no. Narrated menus, yes, no. Colorblind options, yes, no. So on and so forth.
Clever.
So now that, if I'm, I know Isaac got some colorblind issues. So if I would be able to, if he ever runs into a game, problem with the game, be like, oh, is there games that have, colorblind support? This would be very nice to know. So granted, they're not, well, let's see. Okay. So adjustable difficulty, save anytime, custom volume controls, narrated game menus, stereo sound, surround sound, adjustable text size, subtitles, color alternatives, camera comfort. Oh, removing screen shaking and camera bobs.
And these all show up on the game's store page.
Yes, they will show up on the store page. So you'll be able to actually search for things that have different types of options.
Very cool.
But I don't think it was this article. I think it was another article I read where there are already some sort of standards, I think, in the EU that they're not following. So there's going to be some slight confusion on that. But, hey, standards, the more the better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure. The more the better.
That was supposed to be sarcastic.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I just can't help but think of the XKCD Standards comic.
Yeah. Oh, did you pre-order your Switch 2?
Not yet.
Okay, because the only hard numbers that we have actually coming from Nintendo itself was that just in Japan alone, there were already 2.2 million people applying for the pre-order lottery.
Let's see.
And according to, Nintendo president, this greatly surpasses the number of Switch units available to Japanese players. And they are anticipating that...
Wait! They made the claim like 4 months ago that, yeah, we know there's going to be high demand. We don't think anyone's going to have to wait. We're going to just make a lot of them.
Well, this is this is even greater than they expected.
God damn it, Nintendo. What do you mean it's more than they expected?
This greatly surpasses the number of Switch units available to Japanese players, and they anticipate that a significant number of customers will be left disappointed due to the overwhelming demand.
Yeah, definitely. Jesus Christ.
And they are saying that anybody not selected for the pre-sale lottery will automatically get carried over to a second lottery, with further lotteries and reservation systems rolling out gradually.
Good Lord.
So, yes, no, just if Japan is any indicator, this is going to be a problem.
Well, it's more expensive here.
Yes.
So maybe not as bad?
I don't know, which is, I'm kind of curious how come they gave us, Japan. They talked about Japan numbers, but they haven't said anything.
They might not want to. They might be a little concerned.
Possibly. So, the other Switch news in here.
Uh-huh.
So, we talked about the game key cards, right?
Yes. This is the, I can let someone borrow my game?
Yes. So, you could go to the store and buy a physical thing that looks like a Switch 2 cartridge. But if you were actually able to look at the cartridge, the only thing in that cartridge is basically just a online download key.
Okay.
So there's no actual game on the card.
Right.
But yes, you can still pass that card around to people and they can put it in their Switch. And as long as they have that cartridge in their Switch, they would actually be able to download and play the game. Now, Nintendo themselves haven't really, they're still doing actual cartridge games that are the actual cartridge.
Yeah.
But people are starting to look at all of the third-party games, and a majority of the third-party games getting released on the Switch 2 are going to be these game key cards.
It's probably cheaper to make.
Well, yes, because all you need is just a digital code, basically. So they don't have to actually put what's that, Express or Extreme?
Yeah, SD Express.
Yes.
Huh. So and you can only play the game if you have that code in there.
Yes, you have to have that cartridge in your Switch.
How long do you think it is before someone breaks the encryption on that and copies it?
I don't know. I
presume it's going to have some sort of check for this person's playing this game already. If someone else tries to play it, they can't. But then, what happens when I put it in mine and then I go offline and then you put a copy of it in yours? Something sounds funky about this.
My thought with this, which is kind of annoying, is the fact that, okay, how many times have I seen EA going, okay, nope, we're done with this game, shutting down the servers. That's it.
Yep.
And
what happens when the servers get shut down?
Yes, and I can still, there's one, Burnout, EA Burnout, it was that cartoony one where you have this little tiny car and you got to blow up a whole city with your car. Do you remember that one?
Nope.
What was it called? Oh, Burnout Crash. That's what it was. It was a downloadable game from EA that I got on 360. It was one of those things, okay, so that's a download game. And luckily I had already downloaded it because they shut down the servers, but at least I still had it, on my... Available, yeah.
Yeah.
If I come back in 20 years with the Switch 2 cartridge and I try to put that game in my Switch 2, and it'd be like, nope, sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, Nintendo has taken down 2 of their stores.
Mm-hmm.
There is a list of games that are no longer available anywhere. You cannot purchase them.
but like, like I said, Nintendo themselves are still doing games on the cartridge, but as a third-party publisher, I could see where they go, oh, it's going to, cost me a third of the price to actually produce this game if I just do a game code versus actually trying to get everything on an actual cartridge.
Yeah, but then why are you doing a cartridge in the first place? Like, you can just do online codes. That is an option. The Switch supports that.
That part I don't know. Why would you do an actual physical game code if there's no actual physical game on it?
Right.
That one, I don't know.
I'm willing to like come at this after using it for a while and be like, oh yeah, no, we were totally wrong. This is amazing. But I think it's far more likely we're going to come at this after a while and be like, yeah, this is just weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Let's see. Do we have any other gaming news? I missed one. There was Netflix. Netflix is changing up their subtitles.
Yes, I was going to bring that up when you were talking about accessibility.
Yeah, I've completely forgot about that. Yeah, so
there's a second set of subtitles.
Yes, they're going to be doing a second set of subtitles that is not for the hard of hearing, but just has basically spoken text.
Which I kind of like. Like that's actually pretty good.
Well,
sometimes it's hard to hear them.
Well, I put the subtitles on, especially when we're doing, because we do family movie nights once a week, and I always try and make sure to have the closed captioning on there because Megan is still learning how to read,
and that's helpful.
Yes, so having her like hear the dialogue and actually being able to read it on the screen, I feel like is, helpful to her for that.
Definitely. So will you be using this instead where it's only the spoken words?
Probably, because she doesn't need to, hear loud explosion, dramatic music. It's like, I get that part of it.
For me, the kicker is when it spoils things.
Yes. What was that?
Because it puts like a name in front of what the words are. And you're like, but we aren't supposed to know who that is yet.
It was She-Hulk. She-Hulk. I'm going to spoil this.
It's been out for 4 years. You're okay.
She-Hulk, the finale where she goes to talk, she breaks the fourth wall. Yep. And, goes to the writer's rooms and says, I want to, talk to Kevin. And she says Kevin, and it's spelled out normal Kevin. But when the writers say Kevin, it was spelled out K.E.V. Like, I was looking at it going like, that's weird. Why is it doing that? That's not right. And then you show up and you realize that Kevin is a robot. And you're like, wait a second.
A robot wearing Kevin Feige's cap.
Oh, of course, yes.
Because, So here's the thing I didn't know about She-Hulk. She breaks the fourth wall in the comics all the time.
Yes,
I did not know that was a character trait of She-Hulk. I was actually rather upset at the show for all of the fourth wall breaking. Of like, guys, what the fuck? Like, this is... But now that I know it's actually like a character trait, it is. I find it so much more acceptable. I don't know how I should feel about that, but that's how it is.
Well, who did it first? Did Deadpool do it first, or did She-Hulk probably did it before Deadpool?
Think She-Hulk did it before Deadpool.
No, there's got to be. Who broke the fourth wall first? Marvel. Oh, yep. She-Hulk is the first major superhero
to break the fourth wall.
Okay, so the first one originally was Plastic Man back in 1941. But She-Hulk was breaking the fourth wall in the 1989 series. So probably She-Hulk did it first, and then they put Deadpool after.
Yeah. One more game news. Oblivion came out.
What?
Oblivion came out. Elder Scrolls 4. But wait, Dave, I hear you cry. Wasn't Skyrim Elder Scrolls 5? And aren't they working on Elder Scrolls 6?
That's...
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's why I was very confused.
But they also apparently just decided on a whim to do a high-definition remake of Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion came out in 2006.
Yep.
So they just decided... Did they announce this at any point?
Nope.
What?
There were a couple leaks, but no, official announcement. They just, up and did it and then dropped it without telling anyone.
Oh, my goodness.
Which this article that I linked is actually a like take on that of when large companies do that, it's terrible for the industry.
Okay, why?
Because any indie studio that had planned their release for this week just got creamed.
Oh, okay, yes. No, I could see that. It's just like
if your game doesn't pick up traction in the first week that it's out, you are not going to pick up traction.
Yeah, so it's like the summer blockbusters, are announced years ahead of time, and that gives the other movie studios chances to either counter program against it or get out of its way, right?
No one was releasing a major movie the same week as Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
Like, that just wasn't going to happen.
No. But if we're all sitting here...
studio is just going to get, like, their asses kicked. And that could be a death note for them.
Yeah. No. Okay, I get you on this one. I agree.
So, yeah, like, studios doing this, like, oh, it's fun and it's cool, but, like, it's actually really detrimental to the industry.
It's like the time where, like, Beyonce just drops an album without any sort of thing ahead of time.
Yep.
And then, she would just...
if you are someone else who was putting out an album in that same week, you're not going to make it to the top the singles. Like, good luck.
Yeah, she will suck all the air out of any person interested in, new releases at that time. Am I going to try this other artist, or am I going to, grab the latest Beyonce drop? It's a tough question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what else we got on here. We got some layoffs and people leaving.
Let's go with the layoffs first.
Okay, layoffs first. Intel is confirming that they are going to lay off a section of their company. Basically, they're trying to go for the layers of middle management.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been reported that they were looking to lay off around 20% of their staff, but they haven't, he said, yes, we are going to be downsizing, but he didn't say to what extent. But still, if it's up to 20% of your whole staff, that's a bit much.
Yeah, although if you have, more than 20% of your staff is middle management.
Yes, that is.
Keep in mind, middle management is like the lumbar from Office Space, right?
Oh, yeah. No, during our division meetings, because we are a government agency, of course, all of our stuff is, out there for everybody to see.
Yep.
And it's just every once in a while, like, we'll go over the divisional structure and, like, who's new, what positions have been added, what's been removed, that sort of stuff there. And sometimes we just look at it and go, they're like, there's a lot of people between me at the bottom and,
and the people at the top.
The people at the very top.
Yep.
I can draw the line, and I can go from the whole chart for me all the way up to, the governor's office. But there's, sometimes there's a lot of people in the middle there.
At work, I have definitely, and I know other people have done so independently, refer to it as the J number, because it's the number of steps between you and Judy.
Ah.
So it's your J number. At one point, I think I was a J3 or J4.
Ooh.
My boss, her boss was the president of the company. His boss is Judy.
Yeah, at the radio station when I left, I was basically, because Peter took over Duke after Duke passed away, and Peter would answer my phone calls if I called him. So I was like, I could be at that level if I ever needed to actually play that card.
Yeah,
I could have,
but you never want to.
No, that's like for emergency use
thing.
Only.
Yeah,
yeah. I even saw Tim Lays, who was the corporate head engineer. Like, we had a problem, and he's like, the only way to fix this is we need to buy this like $2,000 piece of equipment. He's like, I hate to do this, but he called it up, and he called up Duke, and he's like, Duke, station's got in trouble. We need to buy this new thing. Just waited 30 seconds, and he's like, yep, thank you. And then he hung up, and he's like, okay, we'll order it, overnight it, get it here.
Nice.
He's like, I hated to do it, but,
yep.
Duke was the guy that's like, okay, sometimes you just need to buy the part to fix the problem.
Yep.
So, yeah, so Intel's laying off people. We don't know how much.
20% is a lot.
Yes.
That is But, like, how do you let it get so bad?
I don't know. They had 108,900 employees at the end of last year.
Jesus. I mean, yeah. They're not doing great.
No, they did not catch the AI wave as much as NVIDIA did.
Yeah. Their hope, not that we are a market analyst show or our financial advisors, but Intel's hope is that NVIDIA is going to get so drawn into AI that they're going to leave like actual graphics off the table. And so then Intel and AMD could swoop in and like start to grab some of that market. But yeah, good luck. The problem with that is it doesn't change the fact that at a fundamental level, AI and computer graphics are the same kind of math.
Yep.
So if you make a thing that's good at one of them, you made a thing that's good at the other one too.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe that's a overly simplistic look. Jesus Christ, they make a $55 billion revenue?
Oh, Intel?
That's so much. Intel.
Wow. Well, Meta is also laying off a lot of people in the Reality Labs division, which is, the Quest headset and everything.
Ooh. Oops. Wasn't that Zuck's personal baby project?
Yes. There have now been over 100 people fired in the latest round of job cuts. And I'm not sure if it was this article. Yep, this article here. Meta's Reality Labs had reported a loss of $4.97 billion in Q4 of last year, and they only had $1.1 billion in revenue.
Yep.
So yes, they lost.
VR is not there yet.
No.
And it needs to be. We should be moving towards that. We should keep working on it. There's some fundamental issues with it, but we can figure those out and address them. But
losing $3 billion plus in a quarter.
Well, I'm actually still okay with that. Facebook has that money to spend.
That is true. Yes,
that's what R&D is. Yeah, you spend money on it, hoping that it's going to pay off. But even if it doesn't, you've marched progress forward a little bit. My thing with Facebook and Meta in general is that they're going it's here, it's good, you should have it. I'm no, it sucks, it's bad. You should keep researching to improve it.
Yeah, whatever happened to Apple's VR thing? Is that still a thing or no?
Apple Vision Pro or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, if Apple couldn't even get the Apple people to get buy-in.
Well, because it was a $2,000 headset.
Yeah.
And doesn't solve the main problem of VR of you're isolated.
Mm-hmm.
They're oh, look, you can see the eyes. No, you can see a video projection of the, it's not the same thing. So bad.
Oh, and then also Google is killing software updates for the first 2 generations of Nest thermostats, by the way. I don't know if you have Nest or if you have an Ecobee.
I had a Nest. I no longer have it.
Okay.
Because my new furnace came with its own thing.
Okay. Yes, they are stopping these software updates for the first gen and second gen. And they've also decided that they are no longer going to be selling the Nest thermostats in Europe, citing unique heating challenges.
Laws?
They said that heating systems in Europe are unique and have a variety of hardware and software requirements that make it challenging to build for the diverse set of homes.
Probably the fact that a number of the homes are centrally fed from some main furnace.
I don't know. But yes, they said that the thermostats the current generation of thermostats, actually Nest Learning Thermostat 3rd Gen 2015 and the Nest Thermostat E 2018, will continue to be sold in Europe while supplies last, but no new thermostats for Europe.
Okay.
Now, the first...
that sounds to me like EU regulation.
That's what I heard, too. It's like they don't want... There's something in the EU laws that they don't want to mess with. And they're like, we need a reason other than these EU laws.
Other than we don't want to be compliant with the law?
Yeah.
But, like, we're pretty sure that's what it is, right? Like,
that's what I think it is, yeah. So the first and second gen, they'll still work. They'll just completely lose any sort of access from your phone.
Will they still work with Alexas?
Yeah. Well, they're Google's, so they'll Google Assistant, and then it says you will no longer be able to control them from your phone or with Google Assistant.
Okay, but I was able to control mine with my Alexa.
I don't think that's is that a possibility anymore? 'Cause I feel like Google would have put the kibosh on that.
Nah, they aren't going to remove that. What, do they think they're going to sell more Google Homes?
I don't know. I have two Google Homes.
Look at it this way. Look at it this way. Do you think they would sell enough more Google Homes were they to require that you use it with Google Home, or more Nests if it was compatible with Alexas?
I think they would sell more Nests if it was compatible with Alexas.
I think they think so too.
Yeah. I actually have two of those nice Google Nest speakers downstairs in the basement. I picked them up from Lowe's. They were on clearance for like $20 a speaker. And I grabbed two of them because that's what they had there. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with these? I think there was a point where I thought like Alexa was going to, like we were talking about the rumor, like Alexa was going to go away or something like that. I'm like, well, I got these here because I don't think Google is going to go away.
I'm still waiting for my improved Alexa experience.
Isn't that going to cost like $20 a month or something like that?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Alexa Plus, free with Prime.
Oh, free with Prime. Okay.
Or available to non-Prime customers for $20 a month.
That's where it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well,
I mean, it's just, an LLM behind the thing.
Granted, most of the time I just ask Alexa for the lights and trivia. So,
Ooh, trivia.
Yes.
Yeah, but now you could ask it for like better trivia. You'd be like, make a trivia quiz for me. I was about to say something. It's gone.
I don't remember either. Should we just hit the randoms?
Sure.
Okay. Random review. It's going to be very short, but everybody should have a box of Band-Aid, Skin Flex Band-Aids. Specifically the Band-Aid brand, the Skin Flex type. And I will tell you why. So,
Band-Aid brand, Skin Flex type.
Yes.
Okay.
That's, the official Band-Aid brand. And they have a type called Skin Flex. And you should have a box of these. Because I was chopping up some pineapple last week. And when I was cleaning the knives, I accidentally seriously cut into my thumb.
Ooh.
With the ceramic knife blade.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I, put pressure on it until the bleeding slowed down, and then I just grabbed one of the Band-Aids. I think I originally grabbed one of like the Pokemon or Disney Princess Band-Aids. It was some just random generic Band-Aid, and I put it on there, and I thought everything was fine until I went to go use my smartphone.
Yeah.
And I use my thumb a lot using my smartphone.
Yeah.
And it turns out those Band-Aids do not work with the touchscreen.
Nope.
So then I grabbed some other Band-Aids and put that on my thumb and tried those. Those also did not work. So then I started going through...
You could have just used a different finger.
Well, yes, I know, but still, it's, muscle memory and reflex, and trying to use like a pointer finger. I was trying, right?
Okay.
And then finally I discovered a box of Skin Flex Band-Aids in there, and I put one of those on my thumb, and would you know that Skin Flex Band-Aids are actually partially designed to work with touchscreens.
That's hilarious.
So having that on my thumb,
5 times stretchier. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So these will actually work
with smartphones.
With smartphones and, tablets and everything else. So I will tell everybody, just have a box of these in your house. So if you ever accidentally cut your finger pad, you can throw one of those on there and actually, keep using your touch screens. I should have tried to see, because the new Outback that we have has a touch screen for most of the controls in the center console. I should have seen if that worked with those Band-Aids as well. But yes, no, it was kind of surprising when I was like, why is this not working?
Because you have a bandage on.
I have a Band-Aid on my thumb. Why is it? I'm like, we've got gloves that work with touchscreens. How come I don't have Band-Aids that work with touchscreens? Skinflex Band-Aids work with touchscreens.
Good to know.
Get a box. Leave it in your first aid kit.
Okay.
Just,
It's FSA eligible.
Yep. There you go.
It's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid. Just get a Band-Aid. Keep them on hand. Hopefully you will never have to use them. But if you do, they work with touchscreens. And my thumb is much better now. Thank you for asking.
Okay. I assumed so because you hadn't said, I lost my thumb.
Yes. No. It was a bit of quite a gash in there, but it healed up. So
okay.
Also be very careful hand washing ceramic knives.
Be careful hand washing any knife.
Yes, be careful hand washing any knife, yes. All right, random topic, rolled ahead of time. Hello, I have a 24-pack of Can Beets for a David Palay. They are all pickled due to Wisconsin law. Please enjoy your Australian burger.
This is a callback to when I was trying to find canned beets that were not pickled beets.
Okay.
Which is shockingly difficult to do in Wisconsin.
I'm glad you remembered this, because I grabbed this one and I'm just reading it going, what the hell?
We talked about this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that I kept trying to look for non-pickled canned beets. Because when you make a burger, an Australian burger...
Is that what an Australian burger is?
Australian-style burger. A burger like you would have in Australia. It is a burger with beetroot and an egg. And if you're feeling frisky, pineapple.
Beetroot, pineapple, fried egg, bacon, grilled cheese, grilled onion, cheese, tomato, and lettuce.
It's amazing.
That is a lot. That is a lot on a burger.
Highly recommend.
I actually did. We had burgers today, actually. I did mushroom and Swiss.
Oh, we did burgers as well. I did smash burgers with provolone and grilled onions.
The kids just... Actually, Megan actually did cheddar and Swiss on her.
Ooh.
Yeah. She's going for the cheeseburger, which I'm okay with. Isaac still just wants meat and ketchup, but Megan is exploring cheeses.
All right. There's not much more to this random topic than, you shouldn't use pickled beets when you're doing that.
I didn't even remember this was a thing, so I'm glad somebody was able to remember the callback.
I'll tell you what, Andy. Add canned beets to your grocery list so that the next time you have burgers, you can put some beets on it. Just make sure they're not pickled beets. You were looking for sliced beets. That's it. Not pickled, just sliced beets.
What did I put last time on my hamburger? Oh, I put kimchi on my hamburger last time.
I've heard that's good.
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, I've been getting kimchi. There's a nice large jar of kimchi at Costco that I've been picking up recently. Just trying kimchi and just other random things.
Just in everything?
Yeah, pretty much. Put some in my spaghetti, macaroni and cheese, on the burgers. Next time we'll do tacos. I'll probably try some in the taco. I'll just throw it in everything.
Yeah. Korean barbecue tacos is really good. It is the best fusion.
Yes, no, they, over at Zingo's, they did some nice Korean barbecue last time we ate there. Well, last time we picked up from there, because they don't actually have eating in the, it's a takeout place.
Yeah.
Wow, we started talking about drinks, and we ended on food. I feel like we have gone the full circle, and it is time for a wrap. This has been another episode of the Random Access Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, corrections, suggestions, remarks, reviews, rebukes, retorts, or just rants, feel free to contact us. You can find us on Twitter at RAPodcast, or send us an email at mail@rapodcast.net. Thank you for listening.